All right, so Joe Rogan just dropped this absolute monster of an interview. We're talking 3 hours long, and it covers pretty much every controversial topic you can think of. What we're going to do here is boil that entire thing down to its most mind-bending ideas straight from the source. So, yeah, let's just dive right in.
The interview really promised one big thing, to get to the truth about aliens. So that's got to be our main question for this whole explainer, right? What did Joe Rogan actually end up saying? And what are we supposed to take away from this epic conversation?
And hey, when I say epic, I am not kidding. The original interview, it clocks in at just over 3 hours long. 3 hours? We've basically taken that absolute marathon of ideas and theories and turned it into a quick sprint for you, focusing only on the most important stuff.
Really, the best way to think about this interview is like a truth bomb. Just this massive collection of ideas designed to make you question pretty much everything you thought you knew.
And this is a direct quote from the interview's own description, which, it just sets the tone perfectly. The goal here wasn't just to list a bunch of conspiracies. It was to make a really bold claim that a lot of this stuff is way more than just tinfoil hat fabrications.
So where does this journey begin? Well, interestingly, it's not with aliens up in the sky. It's actually with our own 2 feet on the ground, questioning the very foundations of human history as we know it.
So, yeah, before they even get to UFOs or the future, the whole conversation starts by deconstructing our past. The central argument is that the historical timeline we all learned in school, it might be completely fundamentally wrong.
They jumped from questioning how old the pyramids really are to talking about ancient cataclysms like the Younger Dryas impact event and the idea that it could have wiped out entire advanced civilizations. It's all presented as evidence for this lost chapter of our story, maybe one that's hidden right under our oceans.
And this whole exploration of our history wasn't just about what's out there. The conversation also turned inward. It got deep into the nature of consciousness, what our dreams really mean, and what psychedelics like DMT might be showing us about the fabric of reality. It all points to the same big idea. What if the map we have of our world is just wrong?
Okay, and this brings us to the main event, right? The topic that was promised right in the title, the alien disclosure agenda. The argument they make is that we are living through a truly pivotal moment in human history.
The conversation laid out this fascinating kind of 3-act structure for how this whole disclosure thing is supposedly playing out. It all starts with a long history of government secrecy and crash retrieval programs. Then it moves into where we are now, this sort of reluctant era of transparency. And it all leads to this predicted paradigm shift that's going to make believing in all this totally mainstream.
Now, to ground this in something a little more concrete, the conversation really highlighted specific, tangible stuff that's being debated right now. A great example is the now famous tridactyl mummies from Peru. These are being presented as potential physical proof of non-human species, which moves the whole topic from just speculation into actual physical analysis.
And the talk about extraterrestrials was wide-ranging. It went from these big ideas like the age of disclosure to physical evidence like the mummies, from the super controversial topic of abductions to really personal stuff like a vivid dream Rogan described about meeting humans from the future. It all kind of builds to this final question: what would open contact actually look like?
So once you open that door, once you start to question the official story on UFOs, it just naturally leads you to question other official stories too. And the interview makes that connection very, very clear.
The argument here is that all these seemingly separate events are actually connected by a common thread. I mean, whether it's the JFK assassination, the Epstein case, or even the moon landing, the conversation constantly contrasts the official story with this other shadow narrative. The message underneath it all is pretty clear. If you question one official story, maybe you should be willing to question them all.
And this is where we get to the final part of the discussion. This is where all these different threads, ancient history, aliens, modern conspiracies, they all get woven together to look at what's ahead. This is where it all comes together, you see. It wasn't just a random list of weird topics. The interview builds a case, layer by layer, just to arrive at this one fundamental question about our destiny. If our past isn't what we thought and our present is filled with secrets, what on earth does that mean for our future?
And the final topics they got into they were truly mind-bending. The conversation totally shifted from conspiracies into the ultimate future of humanity. We're talking about the nature of reality itself, the really bizarre intersection of figures like Jesus with the rise of AI,
even grappling with a potential AI apocalypse and this idea that human consciousness and technology are on a collision course to merge into something totally new.
And so we end where the interview itself leaves us, with a really profound and honestly kind of unsettling question. If even a tiny fraction of what was discussed turns out to be true, from lost civilizations to actual alien contact, it wouldn't just add a new chapter to our history books. It would completely rewrite our entire reality. What would that new world even look like? And that's the thought we're going to leave you with.